I'm here with Alex Hill. She's one of our missionary partners, and she is in Kyoto, Japan. Did I say it right?
Yes. Well, yeah, we say Kyoto.
Kyoto.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Kyoto.
You kind of have to have an accent, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of an accent. So, how long have you been there? And tell us about the work you do.
Yeah. I have been in Kyoto for about 3 years now. And I have come alongside a church that is there. It's called His Presence Church.
All right.
So I've been with them for about 3 years. We do a lot of like outreach and prayer ministry and that kind of thing. But
Okay.
yeah.
So, His Presence Church in Kyoto,
Yeah.
Japan. And so, tell us a bit about your upbringing. What got you into doing this? Like, how did you end up serving as a missionary in Japan?
Yeah. So I grew up here in Athens, going to First Baptist, and like every year you guys do like short-term trips, and my dad would always go, and my oldest brother would always go, and I was always a little bit too young. Like my mom wanted to keep me home, and then we kind of moved away and didn't get to go on those trips anymore. And whenever I was like, I think I was like 12 or 13, I started getting like letters in the mail about missionaries. Most of them were in Africa, but and I would just read these letters. And I just remember I was sitting on my floor one day, and I was reading about what these people were doing in these other countries, and I just really felt like the Lord was speaking to me like, this is what you're going to be a part of whenever you get older. And so that's kind of how I got excited about doing missions long term. But yeah.
I love that. There's so many stories about God moving in our lives when we're young, and sort of, I mean, I've heard these stories of like kids that, just one day decide that God is calling them to preach, and they'll like, just like, I don't know, buy a pulpit and put it in their room and just preach sermons. And I just imagine you down there on the ground, just like reading these stories and being moved by what God is doing in the world. Mm-hmm. And so it's so cool to see that you're there, and your family is still part of our church. And so who are all these people? Let's make all these connections.
Yeah. My grandmother is Nancy Smith. And then my parents are Charla and Eddie Hill. And then my oldest brother also still goes to First Baptist, and his name is Spencer, and he's married to Candy.
Yes.
And they have 2 little ones.
And so you've enjoyed some time getting to hang with them.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's been really sweet. Luna was born, their youngest was born after I had already gone to Japan. So I didn't really get to meet her until recently. But,
Well, that's awesome. Well, tell us, what are some needs? How can we be praying for you and your ministry and the church that you're working at? What are some things going on that we can pray for you? And specifically, what are your needs? How can we help?
Yeah. As far as like our church community, we're really focusing on raising up leaders right now. We don't have a lot of people to kind of help lead. We've grown a lot in the last couple of years, and we really need more leaders. And another thing we're kind of focusing on right now is discipleship and helping people feel like they can walk with Jesus themselves, and things like that. And then personally, I am kind of taking a sabbatical right now for like a few months. And during that time, I'm also going to be doing fundraising before I go back. And so, that's kind of a need that I have right now.
So you're looking for supporters, people to come and help, and you'll be able to go around and share the stories of things. And the beautiful thing about all of this, and I have tons of respect for folks that raise their own funds to do mission work, is that God's going to provide.
Yeah.
And as much as all the details seem hard, you can know that He's going to provide. So we'll be praying for you in this time off. And thank you for your time today with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm not going to turn it off yet, Logan, because we might use that just for her video, because that was pretty quick. I want to know and we're just going to use this. This is going to be the extra special part of the podcast.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite food to eat in Kyoto? What's your favorite thing to eat in Japanese cuisine?
My favorite food to eat in Japan. That's really
You don't have to say,
hard.
don't say ramen. Everyone knows ramen is
No,
great.
yeah.
So, what's something that they eat that like you've learned to love that maybe we would never touch? Do you like kimchi?
I do like kimchi. That's not really Japanese, but
Oh, sorry, that's Korean.
yeah,
Gosh, how
it's still
awful.
great.
No, yeah, but okay, so what?
Japanese people love
But
kimchi
Kyoto's
too.
really well known for their food,
Yeah.
specifically. So, what are some things that you really like there?
Yeah, I think for me, I really love. It's called nabe, but basically it's Japanese hot pot. Especially since it's been cold, I've been eating that a lot
Yeah.
lately.
So, what are the kinds of things that you will get? And if you don't know what hot pot is, it's like a hot pot of
Yeah.
soup that you dip meats or veggies in.
Yeah. And they make it really easy. Like there's just like packages of soup that you can just buy. So you just pour it in the pot and then put whatever you want in, really.
Yeah.
But probably the most common things are like cabbage, and they really love to put pork,
Okay.
like thinly sliced pork. It cooks really fast. They love mushrooms in Japan. And so there's always like
Different kinds of
ton of
mushrooms,
mushrooms.
too, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
just like the button ones we're used to.
yeah.
What-
And tofu, of course. But
Oh, okay. So tofu. Yeah, that's one that I'm like coming around to. But,
yeah.
you know, in hot pot, I don't mind it because it goes in the tofu, goes in, and then it gets soaked up with all of the
Yeah.
good
It
juices.
tastes like
whatever you put
goodness.
it in. Right.
Yeah.
Well, very fun. I believe that discipleship happens around the table. And what a better way for you
Yeah.
to share the gospel and share with people than around the table eating food. I imagine that
Yeah.
that's a pretty big part of what you do.
Yeah. Especially with like having the cafe now. It's a really easy way to kind of invite people in. It's like, okay, well, let's get lunch at the cafe and have coffee and chat. And it is a really good way to really just be able to meet with people. And I feel like a lot of times people are maybe not as on guard whenever you're eating, you know? It feels more like casual and real sometimes.
Yeah. No, totally. And that's the example of Jesus, right? Whenever he would go from somewhere, he would enter someone's house and they're gonna have food.
Yeah.
And that is like that's one of the as a like foodie and kind of like amateur chef, I love that about food. Is that connecting over food is a totally different experience, or coffee.
Yeah.
But connecting over food is just a great way to get to know people. There's something intimate about eating together.
Yeah.
You're sustaining yourselves, but you're also like the conversations that happen around a dinner table are so different than a casual hello, how are you at church kind of conversation.
Yeah.
So I love that and love what you're doing, and thanks for taking time to do this with us today. And we'll be praying for you and your church and all the work you're doing, and praying for you as you're raising money. I mean, that's just a reality of doing this kind of work, is you've got to be able to take care of yourself, and God's going to take care of you. So we'll be praying for you and praying for all of those pieces to fall in place, and all the people that you're meant to meet over the next month or two that are going to support your ministry, that you'll meet those people and they'll take care of you.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Alex.